What is up, guys? Welcome back. So today what I'm doing with the Yukon, I'm going to show you the dry shaft, how I do it. A lot of people will get custom dry shafts, but you can make OEM parts work. So I'm going to get out here and show you what I do. So as far as dry shafts go, normally a stock dry shaft, if you're doing a 480 and like a two-wheel drive truck, stock dry shaft will work just fine. If it's extended cab, it's going to have a center support bearing. All that works just fine. But if you're going from a 4-wheel drive to a 2-wheel drive, which is what I'm doing, I'm taking this all-wheel drive Denali to a 2-wheel drive. This is the problem. This is a 4-wheel drive Yukon drive shaft. It's too short. So what I've done is I went to my buddy's junkyard and I got this. This is a 2-wheel drive Tahoe. It's a lot longer. It's the exact length that I need. A lot of times if you got these things lowered, the shaft will be a little sunk into the transmission, but I've never had an issue. The truck that I actually sold Taylor Ray, one of my buddies, it was a 480 swap, and I used a stock shaft, just put a 4-wheel drive yoke on the end of it, which is basically this yoke, 4-wheel drive yoke is the same yoke as a 4L80, but the difference is, well, I guess it's not the same, but this is out of a 4L80. This is what most people get when they do the swaps. These are outside clips. It's like a 1350 U-joint, which is too big. And you can't put, a lot of people use a conversion joint to use this yoke with the 2-wheel drive or the like 1330, I think it is, U-joint. But what I do is a 4-wheel drive dry shaft slides in just perfect. Everything's identical, except it uses the smaller U-joint. So basically all you gotta do is go to like O'Reilly's or whatever and get just a 2-wheel drive at the transmission U-joint. You know, the rear joint's the same. Thing is, when you get these dry shafts, they're pressed together and they put like a nylon inside there. They don't actually use clips. So what this allows you to do is change the yoke and use the inside clip style. But if you want the part number for this, it's just a 235. If you want a non-greasable, which doesn't really matter, it's a 234. This is just the Master Pro O'Reilly's brand. It's like an $18 joint. But I'm gonna get this knot together and show you what I got. All right. See, that's how much difference you have in length. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. Transfer case takes up quite a bit of dry shaft. So we'll get this joint put on the 2-wheel drive and we'll take a look at it. All right, so as you can see, we have a 4L80 U-joint set up. Works freely, works perfect. I mean, some might say it needs to be balanced, but we're gonna try it. So, got a little balancer on the end of this one. This Yukon's an 05, and they started putting these balancers on these shafts. Might be a Denali thing, I don't know, luxury, I don't know. So we're gonna see how it works. If it works, it works. If it don't, then I'll have one built, but these have always worked good for me, so. One of the things I forgot about was when you do have a bolt-in yoke, you have this O-ring that you have to get rid of. And I'm probably gonna have to shave down this right here just a little bit. It might clear. I should have got a center bore or a countersunk shaft, but I didn't. So I'm gonna see what I can do about getting this fixed. See, as you can see, it hits. So when you get a countersunk bore on your yoke, it'll work. So this is the factory length. I got it in the back of the rear end. As you can see how much longer it is. So I could actually, I'm probably gonna end up cutting a little bit off of this yoke because I don't really need all that. The factory dry shaft's a little long, but it does work very well. It's just if I would have had a transmission without the bolt-in yoke, this would have worked out. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut some off of this yoke and just let it try it out. If I have to, I'll get a custom drive shaft made, but this normally always works in the Silverados just fine. I've never actually used a transmission with a bolt-in yoke. So I'm gonna see what I can do. This is after I cut it down. I mean, that should be sufficient enough to do what I need to do. There's no way it's gonna slide in far enough to hit where that O-ring was. So, well, I think that should be fine. But we'll get this tail shaft back on, we'll see where she lands. So that's how much room we actually have with the drive shaft installed. I feel like that's gonna be perfectly fine. Bushing's good. So basically the shaft's like probably up in here. It might be a little further. All I know is it's gonna work, and if it don't, we'll fix it from there. I had the right bracket for it. This one didn't come out of an express fan. So bracket was right, arms on. You do have to adjust it, but there's a nice little adjuster right there that allows you to adjust your cable, because with the 4L60, this part right here is a little adjusted out a little too far this way. So I had to pull it back a little bit. Got that. Drive shaft's done. O2s are done. Basically all we need is a cross member completed and the rest of the exhaust, and then we'll be on to the tune. So here's what I come up with to the mount, transmission mount. This is off of something I made, hand trucks. That's gonna weld this to that. I'm gonna chop it down. That should do just fine. It looks like nothing right now. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So basically I made this quite a while back for spraying weeds around my car lot, and I never really used it because I didn't take into account that those big wide tires would make it so hard to turn. So it was just really a pain in the ass to pull around. I had more fun building it than anything. So I basically just chopped that off, and I'm gonna use this. It's pretty thick. I should do what it needs to do to hold the transmission up. So let's get it installed. So this is the driver's side. I just pulled it off. I had this piece of pipe. I cut a piece off and I just kind of migged it to get it in place. I'm gonna try to TIG weld it, but the fit up's pretty good. It should go right back on. So let's get it welded. Let's get it welded, John.
Where's my machete at?
I don't know. Well, the exhaust is done. It's all hooked up. I'm not very happy with it, but it'll work. I had to meg it, and somebody turned my welder gas down, so it kind of screwed me. But as you can see, it doesn't look terrible. It fits good. It's hooked right back into the factory exhaust. Everything's hooked up factory. Just no converters. There's that piece. Turned out good. Had a little curve right here and it fit pretty good. So I'm happy with it. I did blow a big hole in this while I was TIGging it, and I just had to MIG it up. Man, I get overwhelmed with TIG welding sometimes. Sometimes I'm good, sometimes I'm not. Practice. But last thing really is cross member in the tune. But I'm about to just throw the cross member in, hold the transmission up for right now and see what it sounds like. cross member is done. This is what I come up with. What I've done was I actually popped some holes, slid this into the depth I need, wetted that plate on, wetted it down to keep it supported. Yes, this is part of a hand truck, but it's solid. It ain't going nowhere. Should be perfect. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap it up here. Everything's done as far as mechanically. Next step is getting the tune dialed in, getting the segment swap done, and that'll be it. And we'll be ready to take it for a spin. So I appreciate you watching. And if you like this, give it a like, and we'll see you in the next one.